You. My name is Huda Qureshi, and on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, welcome to the CA Webcast session. The objective of the CA Webcast is to provide the opportunity to students of A-levels, HSSC, and graduates to gain knowledge about the CA education and explore the numerous benefits associated with the Chartered Accountancy qualification. Before moving forward, let me first introduce our worthy panelists of the session. Our first panelist is Mr. Salman Abbasi, Deputy Director, Training and Students Affairs at Icap. He knows the ins and outs of CA, so be sure to ask him as many questions as you can. Our second panelist is Mr. Hassan Rafiq. He is currently the Marketing Manager of ICI Pakistan. Previously, he held the position of Finance Manager at ICI Pakistan. He is also a One Young World and Chartered Accountants Worldwide Ambassador. Welcome, Hassan. We will also be taking your questions today, so make sure to post them in the comments clearly exactly what your query is, and we will be sure to answer it. So starting off with Mr. Salman Abbasi. So sir, what exactly is Chartered Accountancy?
Thank you, Huda. A first liner to define a Chartered Accountancy is that it's a leading business qualification specializing in the fields of accounting, auditing, and finance. Now, this simple definition does not truly explain the scope of chartered accountancy. They might be only two words, but they open a new horizon for our aspiring professionals, business professionals, to venture out into the business field and realize their true potential. Chartered accountancy enables our professionals to harness, to progress, to play their important due role in developing the business fields. So chartered accountancy, if you ask me what is chartered accountancy, it's the doorway to a successful career.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So what do you think makes chartered accountants and chartered accountancy qualifications stand out from other qualifications, and why should new students or the younger generation opt for this particular one as compared to there are so many other qualifications out there?
Very, very pertinent question, Huda. Why should these millennials, the new ones who have recently done their A-levels and intermediate, why should they opt? See, nobody can deny the fact that these millennials are high achievers. They are way above their predecessor generations in achieving. For them, nothing is impossible. Now, they need something more challenging to realize their true potential. All would agree that chartered accountancy is arguably the most challenging, if not the most challenging, one of the most challenging education streams in Pakistan, and it gives them, it gives our youngsters, especially the high achievers, a true platform to realize their true potential, and that is the sole reason that these high achievers should opt for the C education. Besides being an opportunity of realizing their potential, C opens a lot of horizons. Like the gentleman sitting next to me, so-called he's a chartered accountant, but you'll get to know once he speaks that he's heading, he's looking after the marketing department of a very well-reputed national and international organization. So that speaks for itself. That not only chartered accountants cater in the accounts and finance and auditing fields, they are very well-rounded business professionals, having strong business acumen and taking the businesses to the new boundaries.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So many people believe that Icap is basically an educational institution, and they don't exactly know the extent of the powers that Icap possesses or the facilities that it offers. So what exactly is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan?
Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan was established in 1961 under a federal government ordinance with a very humble beginning. It started off, and over the period of 50 years, 5-6 decades, it has become the apex body in accounting, auditing, and finance profession. With over more than 8,000 members all across the world, chartered accountants enjoy reputable positions are playing a very important role in development of businesses and eventually making this world a better place to live. So ICAP itself as an institution has evolved in the last few decades, and again with a very humble beginning, it has become a premier professional body in the world, known not only nationally but recognized internationally as well.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So, CA Pakistan profession, like, is it recognized anywhere at all? Ya koi recognition nahi hai?
No, it's very nationally, of course. It's the apex body. It's the premier accounting qualification, professional qualification one can opt for. Besides, our chartered accountants are present all over the world, be it Americas, Canada, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Africa, Far Eastern countries, and how could I miss the Middle East, the UAE, the Saudi Arabias. All over the world you will find chartered accountants working in Fortune 500 companies at senior positions. That itself is indicative of the fact that our qualification is recognized all over the world. Besides, we have formal recognition agreements and arrangements with ICAEW, with CA Australia, New Zealand, with Canadians, Canada, and with CA Worldwide, with CAPA, with SAFA. So yes, we are recognized all over the world under reciprocal arrangements.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So Hassan, now moving on to you. So we all know that you're a qualified chartered accountant and you're currently heading the marketing department. If not heading, then you're at least marketing manager. So what made you choose chartered accountancy as a profession? What made you think, yes, this is it, this is what I want to do?
Chartered accountancy was something I decided based on 3 factors mainly, and I would suggest strongly that any person who chooses his profession or career or academia should look into these factors very consciously before getting into it. Number 1 is that it should be multidisciplinary, as in the breadth in the studies and the academics or the knowledge breadth should be so far stretched that you can actually add value, a strong value proposition to the business you join. Number 2 is you should get an early hands-on experience, and I bet you this is if not only one of the qualifications in Pakistan which gives you a chance to become a professional person working in an established organization, be it an audit firm or be it an industry, in your teenage. And that is what gives you a proper edge when you get into your mid-20s. You already have 5 years, 6 years experience in your field or in audit firm, which gives you a lot of edge with any other qualification if you take comparison of. And number 3 is it should be internationally recognized. And I'm very proud to say that ICAP is recognized in each and every part of the world. So Mr. Salman suggested few continents, I would say. It is far stretched from Seoul to New York. Everywhere in the world I've seen chartered accountants because of my traveling. They are in numbers which are of great inspiration. And we have a lot of base of Pakistani chartered accountants working for companies which are Fortune 500, which are internationally recognized and in a very senior leadership positions.
So how has your experience of being a chartered accountant been so far? Like you just mentioned, you've traveled the world. So how has it been?
So I would say it's, if one word, it was an amazing experience. Starting from the IQ perspective, I built on the knowledge base of so multi-disciplined subjects, starting from marketing to HR to organizational behavior to communication to specialized audit, tax, accounting, corporate law, business law, and the list goes on. So if you want to have a proper acumen in terms of developing and adding value to the business, I guess that was the perfect idea and perfect mix as a chartered accountancy qualification. And more so to build on that, the cultural quotient I built, the cultural diversity I experienced, because starting from the handling of teams or working in project teams in my audit firm life, and then going in an industry and working in different teams, different systems, different discipline background, people like marketing, HR, legal, sales, supply chain, production. So a chartered accountant is actually everywhere in the business. They cannot function without a mental person with a chartered accountant body, because they give a very good, clear skin to the business. And that is the beauty. You learn in IQ, you learn on CQ, and that is one more important thing. You learn a lot of emotional stability, because the thing you are going through chartered accountancy is dealing your professional life, which is your work life, and your academia together. And it gives you so much of strength and power to face the world and take any challenges around the world or any function for that sake. So I guess it was an amazing experience to summarize it.
So, when you come across a lot of youngsters, they believe that, oh, CA qualification, oh my God, it's so boring. And some believe that, oh, it is so difficult, you never pass. So, do you really think that is so? Is it boring? Is it like that difficult that it's, you don't pass?
All right, so I will answer the second question first. Will you pass? I guess these are two different things. Qualification or academia is always boring if you take it boring. So even if you do the best studies in the world, be it architect or be it musician, if you don't take it as your passion, as your interest, as your desire to be successful person in the world, everything will feel boring. So I guess gone are the days where CAs were looked upon as a book of accountants, or a person who is just passing double entries, or is just telling that this is right and this is wrong, this is credit and this is debit. It is much beyond that. With the technology coming in last decade, especially, role of chartered accountants had been immense. It's not limited to just accounting function. So you cannot become a boring person if you want to be a successful chartered accountant. You have to be fun loving. You have to be, taking interest in specialized nature interests. Like, for example, you have to be very, very much into marketing, into HR, into supply chain, into different functions. You need to understand the business strategy. You need to understand what are the values which are driving the profitability of the organization. And that comes out of the interest. This is not just by being and I would definitely say it is not a boring function, because had it been boring, you won't see so many chartered accountants working in different fields altogether from accountancy. So it's a diversified field for sure, and it won't let any person who is boring to be successful. And trust me, when you are in a chartered accountancy study, all the fun-loving thing which you can do with your teams, with your seniors, with your clients, when you are in audit firm or in your industry, when you are starting as a trainee officer, there is so much happening in any company or any audit firm that you can't be bored. So trust me, this profession won't let you bore.
Okay, so we have a question from Mr. Nabil Ahmad, and I'm going to direct it at Hassan first. Can an average student do CA? That's what he's asking.
Okay, so hands on my heart, I have seen average students to be more successful in chartered accountants than very bright or very low students. Simple reason, because they keep an interest and desire to learn. And it's not about excelling into specialized functions. As I said, CA is a multidisciplinary qualification, and it gives you depth and breadth into many sectors and many applications of the business. So it's not about being very, very professional. It's not a superstar thing. It's not a sports model thing. It's not a celebrity thing. It's a qualification. It's an academia. An average person can definitely pass this qualification, and we have I would suggest that I am one of the average person who was not so bright as far as intermediate qualification was concerned, but alhamdulillah I have been able to do this, and it was just about persistence, hard work, and making inspirational models in your life to be successful.
So taking the things that you just said forward, you're a chartered accountant, but you're currently the marketing manager.
Yeah.
So what made you think that you were the perfect fit for that particular role, and what made you switch from chartered accountancy into marketing?
See, one thing is for sure, there is no free lunch. So if as a chartered accountant, you are able to add value to the organization it requires to. They will definitely grow you with, and sky's the limit, as we say in Icap. So the thing is that you have to get close to the business, understand the real drivers, real parameters, real factors which are driving your competitive strength, is driving your value addition, is giving you an edge in the industry. And it all comes with, you know, a different business sets or business drivers. It's not just accounting profitability, it's about the giving back to the society, how you are placed in the ecosystem. And when you get so close to the business in your sitting with board of directors, sitting with senior management, for sure they want you to lead the business at the forefront. And Alhamdulillah, I got this opportunity to handle and keep this business going forward in terms of marketing and business head position, to actually drive the numbers which are, which leads to a sustainable growth and a healthy growth.
Thank you, Hassan. Saman Saab, now coming back to you. How can one become a chartered accountant?
Before answering this question, I'd like to dilate upon and resonate on what Hassan has just said. I would answer Nabil's question by asking him a question. How does he define an average student? Like average, a popular conventional wisdom would say average are students who do not fare well or do not do exceptionally well in their intermediate examinations. They are not like the distinction holders. That is what a conventional wisdom would say, and that's I think Nabil would agree that that's what our conventional wisdom says. With my 22 years of corporate experience, I've seen ordinary people working passionately, working with a focus, have produced extraordinary results. So ordinary people producing extraordinary results. That's how the mantra goes. And besides, it's not necessary to be academically savvy to be successful professionally in your life. That's something that not only Nabil, with all the people with the mindset of Nabil, needs to score that out very strongly, that there isn't any word that I'm not good enough or I'm just an average person. As Hassan said, that there are students who have not been academically very bright, turned out to be very good chartered accountants, and that's a study that we conducted a few months back, and that is confirmed that that is the case. In order to become a chartered accountant, you need three things. First of all, passion. Second thing, hard work, and third thing, a focus. Now, all these three things does not require you to be an extraordinary academically bright student in your FSC or intermediate. As long as you have these three things, trust me, Nabil, and people like Nabil who are listening and watching right now, it's not difficult. Difficult is again a very subjective word. I would rather use the word challenging. It's not as challenging as people think it is. But if I go with Nabil's version of calling chartered accountancy a challenging qualification, then there is an old mantra which goes that if it were easy, everyone would do it. So that's my take on what the previous question. Your next question was how can one become a chartered accountant? We have two streams. The first one is the more popular one, more acceptable one, and people opt for this one. After your 12 years of education, that is intermediate or A levels, you can start your chartered accountancy. There are 4 steps. We're going to talk more about it in due course. AFC, CAF, CFAB, and MSA. So it's a little confusing right now, but after your intermediate and A levels, you can opt for chartered accountancy. We have registered education providers throughout the country. You can visit any one of them. You can visit any of our Icap offices. The details are there on their website for details. So one stream is right after doing your A-levels or intermediate. The second stream is after doing your graduation. Now, even in graduation, we have 14 years of graduation as well as 16 years of graduation. So both streams are acceptable. Yes, once you are done with your 14 years of graduation, you get few more exemptions than the ones who enter into the stream after their A-levels. After 16 years of graduation, you get a little more exemptions from the courses that you opt for after your 14 years of graduation. So there are two streams after graduation and after intermediate.
So what usually is the criteria after graduation and intermediate? What might the result of the student have not
50% for intermediate and 3 passes in A-levels. That's our criteria, and we don't have any entrance tests per se. 45% for graduation. That's 40 years graduation. That is our criteria. So these are the 2 basic criterions that one has to meet to start his chartered accountancy.
Does Icap allow provisional registration for students?
Oh yes, we do. We surely do. See, what happens is in our system, once the student appears in his intermediate exams, it takes a couple of months for his results to be announced. And likewise in A-levels, you appear and then it takes 2 to 3 months for the results to be announced. So by that time, during that time period, we do entertain students and register them on provisional basis. Of course, subject to once they qualify before the appearance in exams, they have to submit their transcripts and mark sheet. So yes, we do entertain students on provisional basis.
Thank you, Salman Saab. Hassan, moving on to you. So what type of opportunities are available for the qualified chartered accountants? Like we get so many questions, from people who are posting on either on Icap social media platforms or calling and asking that what is the scope of chartered accountancy?
So scope of chartered accountancy is basically spread out on all 3 parameters. Number 1, functionally. So functionally, chartered accountant can work in finance, accounting, HR, internal audit, marketing, supply chain, production, name it. So as far as you are good and well versed in what you do, you get this opportunity to work in many functions, and we have a lot of examples of chartered accountants working in different functions of the business. Number 2 factor, which is a sector. So if you talk about public sector, if you talk about private sector, industry, audit firms, entrepreneurship, consultancy, you name it. So every sector you find in Pakistan or internationally, chartered accountants are placed well there. Number 3 is geographical. So this is the beauty of this qualification. You are not limited to any national boundary or continent boundary or a geographical boundary. It's spread all around the world. So all 3 parameters are ticked in this profession, and we have very clear example of our membership, and we did this analysis in Icap, and it was amazing to see results that Icap's members are placed in every function, in every sector, and in every boundary of the world, you name it.
Okay, so we have a question here from Shabiha Hakwani. And she's asking from Hassan, what is your opinion about Big Fours and medium-sized firms?
All right. So I would strongly say that it's the best thing about this profession is that it's on you how you take it. Obviously, Big Four firms are more process-oriented as they have more clients internationally, so they have good learning experience in terms of different sectors, different industry, and different geographies. But to rest assured that any firm which is registered in Pakistan goes with the true compliance and true formalities of Icap and governance bodies. So it's not basically possible for a firm which is not good in its processes. And there is a very good due diligence taken, especially by Icap, whenever they get any audit firm on board. Yes, there are limited opportunities as everywhere in every study and every academia of this country or world, and everyone won't get in Big Four. But rest assured, it's on the person and on the experience he gets and on the motivation and perseverance he has to be a successful chartered accountant rather than selection of the firm.
You yourself are an ambassador for Icap, for Chartered Accountants worldwide, and for the One Young World. So, how has that experience been so far, and how do you think it has helped you professionally as well as personally?
The best part was that I got to meet people around the world who are quite talented, well ahead in their game in the world, what they are doing, and humble background. And that is the beauty of being associated to an international qualification. I got this opportunity recently last year to attend One Young World, which happened in Hague, which is a city also called International City of Justice, which is located in Netherlands or Holland. 1,800 young leaders participated in that conference, and it was regarding sustainable development goals, which has to be implemented as per UN Charter by all the UN associated countries. And it was amazing to see the passion of people around there, and the work they have done. And thanks to Icap, that actually Chartered Accountants Worldwide is a body which was invited on One Young World Forum. And Chartered Accountants Worldwide actually expected and asked Icap to send their prestigious members to join them in this forum. And it was so amazing to see people from ICAW, ACCAs, and international bodies around South Africa, China, India, Sri Lanka, South America. So you see so many international chartered accountants body who are member of Chartered Accountants Worldwide, and you get to collaborate with them, learn from them what they are doing in their country, how they are taking the governance process in their country, about the qualification they are into of chartered accountancy, how it is different from us. So you get to learn so many things, and you become a person who actually care beyond your financials of the company. So it's regarding your impact you make in the social world, the ecosystem you are operating in, and it's with a bigger purpose in your life. And the slogan, which was the beauty of this One Young World, was, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Is so strong that it gives you that purpose and that mission and that motto you are always searching for as a profession. So if you have a purpose of life and you are working in that in your personal capacity or professional in an organization, I guess that's a beautiful thing you can have in your life.
Thank you, Hassan. Samansa, would you like to share anything? Any thoughts?
Regarding the trainees, the lady just asked in larger firms, I'd be naive if I say that there is no difference. That's I wouldn't say that. Yes, the larger firms have better brand names, give you more exposure, have very strong clients, strong processes. Yes, definitely it is. But there are pros and cons both for larger firms and the not so larger firms. I'm not going to use the word the lady just mentioned. So yes, it is a difference, but as Hassan said, it's not. See, what happens is, let me give you the answer in detail. What happens is that if somebody gets training from the larger firms which enjoy better brand images, have more exposures, have better clienteles, processes are far more stronger than the other firms, and you qualify, yes, you end up your first job, you end up getting a better first job. Yes, that's a given. But once down the line, say a year, 2 years down the line, trust me, it's all the same. The industry, the corporate cycle world is so vicious that 2 years down the line, they don't care where one has got his practical training or articleship from. Only the corporate world, the industry cares is the skill sets one carries, the skill sets one can put on the table. Can he be useful? Can he add value to us? Can he earn for us? Can he save for us? Can he take our business to the next level? That's what counts. And for that, you don't have to have a background of training from one of those larger firms. You can, and there have been cases that students and trainees who have come from not so larger firms have outshone the trainees from the ones who have come from those larger firms. So while it is, yes, it gives you better opportunity, it gives you more exposure, but all said and done, in the end, it all boils down to an individual skill sets. I guess that would answer the lady's question.
Thank you, Saman Saab. So moving on again, coming back to the subject of how you can become a CA, what routes do you think that there are to CA, including training?
What routes are there? Yes, one can start chartered accountancy. See, we discussed upon it, like there are two routes. One of them is the one after intermediate and A levels. You do your AFC, that is assessment of fundamental competencies. Then you complete your CAF certificate, certified accounting and finance, certificate in accounting and finance. And once you are done with your CAF papers, altogether AFC and CAF combined 13 papers, you can start your practical training in one of those training organizations. That is route one. Then the route two is right after your graduation, you can start your practical training in any of the registered training organizations, inside practice as well as outside practice. We're going to talk about outside practice in due course as well. In one of those training organizations, complete 3.5 to 4 years of training, clear your papers, the CAFs, the CFAB, the MSA, and eventually you can become a chartered accountant. So these are the two major routes that one has for becoming the chartered accountant.
So we spoke about the four stages of CA: AFC, CAF, CFAB, and MSA. Could you please elaborate on those a little so that the viewers can understand exactly what those are?
What we have done in the recent, a few years back, is that we have divided our CA qualification into 4 stages. The first one is AFC. AFC stands for Assessment of Fundamental Competencies. You pass those papers, the 4 papers, the elementary papers. It's en route to start your CAF. Now these 4 papers are held after every 3 months. 4 times a year, and they can be taken as many times as one wants after intermediate and A levels. Then the next stage is CAF, CAF. CAF stands for Certified Accounting Certificate in Accounting and Finance. CAF. Now CAF has 9 papers. So this is where part of the meat is. You pass those 9 papers, it can be done 4 papers per STEM. So usually students pass them in 1.5 years at best, at the latest 2 years, that's what an average student passes. After CAF, you can start your articleship, the practical training. We used to call it articleship, now started calling it as practical training in one of those audit firms in a training organization inside practice as well as outside practice. You pass the next 6 papers of CFAB, Certified Finance and Accounting Professional, CFAB. Then after CFAB, you are left with 2 more papers, that is MSA, Multi-Subject Assessments. So altogether, 21 papers, 3.5 to 4 years of training, and you end up becoming a qualified chartered accountant.
Thank you, sir. So what is the registration fee of Icap?
Registration. Before I answer this question, a lot of students ask me that parents usually ask us if it is recognized, that's what a question, general question from parents are, is it recognized and how expensive it is. So we talked about the recognition part of it. It's recognized not only by nationally but as well as internationally. We claim, and we claim very loudly, that CA education is by far the most economical streams of education being provided by any institution, be it public or private, in the country. And that's something that we are really proud of. And the fruits are right before you. People are working in Fortune 500 companies. People are working in leading multinationals in Pakistan, in public sector, private sector, government sector. The other day we met chartered accountants working in the Prime Minister's Secretariat as well. I was very pleasantly surprised that we have chartered accountants working in Prime Minister's Secretariat as well. So yes, registration fees varies from time to time. We have recently increased it. The examination fees, the registration fees, visit our website for details. I would urge it's all given on the website. But my point over here is it's one of those qualifications that with minimum of expense you can get the maximum output of this qualification.
Thank you, Salman sir. So, since we spoke about training earlier, practical training, so we have a question here from, again, Nabil Ahmed. And I'm going to direct this to both of you, starting with Hassan. Does time matter in CA? The person who completes in 5.5 years and who completes in 8 to 10 years have different perspective in future and in the profession of CA. Is that so?
So there are two answers to this question. Number one is time to qualify CA, and obviously the faster the better. And you cannot equate as far as qualification time is concerned of a person who qualifies early and qualifies late. But beyond that, trust me, when you are qualified once, then there is no differentiation between a person who took 8 years or a person who took 5 years, because primarily there are two factors which needs to be completed to become a true professional chartered accountant. Number one is your academia, your papers, and number two is your experience, be it in audit firm or be it in industry. So both of them are running parallel for a person who qualifies in 5 years or who qualifies in 8 years. The point is that yes, you will miss those 3 years where a person who qualifies earlier will be gaining an advantage as he will be fully qualified person. But once both of them are in the same level of being qualified and completing their chartered accountancy, I don't think any industry or any sector will differentiate based on that.
I would resonate on what Hassan has just said. Yes, it would make a difference if you qualify a little earlier than the ones who qualified, say, 2-3 years later than you, as in the case of any other profession. Like if a doctor qualifies, becomes a doctor earlier than his peers, or if an engineer becomes an engineer, if a lawyer becomes an engineer earlier than his peers. So yes, he would carry this advantage of entering into this industry a little earlier than his peers. So yeah, he would carry the advantage. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, so we have another question here from Razia Asghar. Students having 1.5 years of articles from firm and then moving to industry, do they have any opportunity to practice after qualifying?
1.5 years, no. You need to spend 2 years in audit firms to establish your own practice. I think that was the question which Radhia asked.
Asking that if she switches from 1.5 years of training in a firm to industry, and then afterwards does she have a chance of practicing once she qualifies?
No, she does not. She does not. That's the, I got the question now. Radhia, you have to have 2 years of practice training in an audit firm in order to become a practicing chartered accountant. That's the law. That's the rule.
And Mr. Ahmed Raza is asking, what's the average cost to become a CA?
Average cost of becoming a CA, see, I don't want to quote numbers over here, but Ahmed, what happens, Ahmed, is chartered account, we do not give education ourselves. Icap, it does not itself give tuitions. We have registered accounting education tutors and registered accounting school systems all over the country, and their tuition fees varies. Like, some of them charge a little more than the other ones, some of them charge a little less than the other ones. So it would be unfair to put a cap, a bracket to an X amount that one can do chartered accountant in X amount. But as far as our ICAP's own education examination and registration fees is concerned, it's you can check, I'm sure students do that. You can compare it with any public or private university or any other stream of education, and you'll find C education a lot more less expensive than the rest of its peers.
So Salman Sahab, you spoke about registered accounting education providers, and so what exactly are rates and RAS, if you could elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. See, ICAP itself is not involved in education, providing education to the trainees. What ICAP has done is it has registered education providers, and we call them RAET, R-A-E-T, Registered Accounting Education Tutors. 2 years back, we started another stream of education providers, Registered Accounting Schooling System. So these two are the major streams, education providers registered with ICAP, and they are the ones who provide C education to the students. They are all across the country. All their names, details are on our website, and I would urge all the interested students to visit our website. It's www.icap.org.pk, and we have recently relayed that website, and hopefully you'll find it a lot more user-friendly and aesthetically sound website, and all the information and detail is given on our website.
So Salman sir, we spoke about exemptions earlier, that students can receive exemptions. So what kind of exemptions are available for A-level students?
Yeah, again, it's not something that one size fits all. We have exemptions not only for A-level students, we have exemptions for intermediate students as well. And since there are 27 intermediate boards all across the country, we have categorized exemptions given to Board A, Board B, Board C, and all the one from 1 to 27 boards. And since they are like on a case-to-case basis, and then it varies from group-to-group basis, like the ones who are coming from accounting group would rather have more exemptions than the ones coming from pre-medical background. We forgot to mention that it's all intermediate from all the groups, like be it pre-medical, pre-engineering, accounting, humanities, all the boards, and home economics as well. All the boards are eligible for starting. Students from all these groups are eligible to start their chartered accountancy. So for obvious reasons, the ones coming from accounting group would be having more based on X numbers, like if you've scored more than 75% of marks, you'll get more exemptions. If you have got 70% of marks, so that's a pretty detailed. And since it's not something that one size fits all kind of a thing, so it's all details are available on the website. Likewise for A levels, if you have opted for accounting, if you have opted for economics, if you have opted for add maths and further maths, you'll get more exemptions. And likewise, if you have, so that's precisely the case. So it depends from case to case.
So continuing this discussion on exemptions, we have a question here from Mr. Fayaz Malik. Sir, I am a member of ICMA Pakistan. If I join ICAP, then how many exemptions are there? I come to know ICAP Inter is exempt to ACMA. Is this true?
Yes, that's true. Altogether 13 exemptions. Yeah. But of course he has to undergo the mandatory training, the training in articles, yeah.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So how many attempts are available at each of the 4 levels that we discussed earlier? AFC, CAF, CFAP, and MSA.
Again, Huda, that is something, a very advanced question, and we have varies. Like for MSA, we have recently made it like, unlimited. For senior papers, we have, so it varies from paper to stage for every stage, and there is a very strong rationale behind these limiting these number of attempts, because there is a very strong rationale behind, and the management and has thought very deep over it, that what are the maximum number of exemptions to be given at AFC level, CAF level, CFAP level, as well as MSA levels. So these number of attempts are also categorically defined on website for AFC, for CAF, for CFAP, and for MSA. But for the sake of not having information overload, I would urge all the students interested in the number of attempts to visit our website, where all the details are given.
Okay, so this is one question that I receive from students many times, and this is about scholarships. So are there any kinds of scholarships that are available to the students applying for the CA qualification?
Yes, we have 2 streams, and first one, let me talk about the first one first. The first one is EDCA Talent Scholarship. It's arguably one of the most lavish and generous scholarships that is offered all across the country. We offer scholarship up to the tune of 1 million per student throughout, and that's a pretty substantial amount. We cater for their registration, their examination fees, registration fees, training fees, their tuition expenses, their stipends, their living allowances, their books are being afforded. So it's a pretty well covered scholarship. Now what happens is that top 20 position holders from all the 27 boards all across the country are offered this scholarship. The ones who show interest are invited to take an Icap mandated test, and after as a result of that test, we define the merit list, and top 37 students on the merit list, irrespective of the board, the region, the group, the top 37 students are awarded this very prestigious and sought after scholarship. Now very recently, and this year we'll be announcing it come August, we have extended the number of 37 up to 100. Now the top 37 would be getting all the tuition fees, the registration, the examination fees, their daily allowance, their monthly allowance, the rentals, the stipend, and books allowances, all these things. In addition to, from serial number 38 to serial number 100, the ones who fall in this category, they are also being offered exemptions of their registration and examination fees, and they will just have to pay a very token amount up to the tune of 500 to 1,000 just to ensure that their interest is gauged by Icap. So this is one of the scholarships that is offered to the academically high position, top 20 position holders. Now the second one is our endowment fund. Alhamdulillah, while for the first one, the ED scholars, I just had the numbers. We are currently entertaining 185 active students in our EDCA Talent Scholarship all across the country. And the second one is our endowment fund. Our endowment fund is exclusively made for students who are academically bright yet financially deserving. We ensure that the underprivileged segments of the society, the ones who are left behind, are given an opportunity to pursue their C education, and no one is left behind just because of being financially deprived. So this endowment fund caters the ones who are academically bright as well as financially deserving. So this is one, and I just took the number. We have more than 2,200 active students with us right now in our endowment fund scheme. So these are the two scholarships and financial supports that Icap offers to students for pursuing CA.
Thank you, Salman Saab. So, students, when they're giving the examinations, can they appear from abroad?
Yes, from Saudi Arabia and some other countries as well, depending on the number of students. So yes, we do have this facility of students appearing from abroad.
And the study material that is provided by the institute, what are the prices of it?
No, it's given free of cost. It's once you are registered, you become eligible for these study material and all the study aid.
So is it necessary for a student to clear one level before moving on to the next, or can they start appearing in both levels at the same time?
Yes, it is necessary.
It is necessary. Thank you. Okay. So how many times a year? We already spoke that 4 times a year we conduct
Quarterly
examinations.
Yes.
What are those months in which the examinations are held?
Okay, it's March, June, September, and December. Yeah.
So we have a question here, and Hassan, I'm going to direct this to you. Is artificial intelligence going to replace auditors?
All right. Yeah, so this is an interesting topic, and it's not only persistent in the area of the part of the world we live in, but entire world is thinking on those lines. And it's not just audit, so to say, it's many fields. And the basic mantra, I would say, is not replace, but augment. So the word augment has come up in this world with artificial intelligence, and for sure there will be more expected out of us as we grow in the world in next years, and that would be with the help of artificial intelligence. So yes, there are many softwares currently in audit. We call it CATs, that's computer assisted audit techniques, and these are already there, and they are so called AI because they are based on robot process automation or data analytics or something with a term around AI. But it's not about replacing audit, because a human mind which actually sees from professional skepticism, from prudence perspective, from governance perspective, can never be replaced by AI. And AI to function needs a human brain behind. For him or for it to ask what it needs to find out in an audit. So I would surely deny the fact that audit will not be finished because of AI, but it will be more augmented, it will be more efficient, and it will be more effective with the help of information technology.
Thank you. Salman Saab, the next question I will direct at you. Muhammad Tayyab Kamar is asking, can a student get equivalence of CAF certificate who got CA intermediate in old scheme?
Short answer is, I'm afraid no, not yet. We are actively working on it, and Tayyab, you need to understand that our conventional higher education works on a framework designed by Higher Education Commission that is called NQF, National Qualification Framework. Now, National Qualification Framework has certain weightage given to certain subjects, like every BS graduate has to study certain humanities courses like philosophy, psychology, history, Pakistan studies, Islamic studies, Urdu, English. So they have to study X number of humanities courses, then X number of communication like business communication, managerial communication, business English, basic English. Then they have to study X number of quantitative courses, and finally X number of their professional courses. Now that is how higher education defines its national qualification framework. Tayyab, if you are an active student, you would agree that our students are already overloaded, rather bombarded with very technical and deep-rooted and diverse and papers. So if we start examining our students in philosophy and history and psychology and sociology, you'd be asking a little too much from our students. Icap follows the IAESB, the International Accounting Education Standards Board, designed by IS, International Accounting Standards. So Icap religiously follows, and that's why we enjoy a very close relationship with IAESBs, that we follow their framework very religiously. Sadly, the 3.5 years of practical training, mandatory training that a CA receives, our Higher Education Commission does not cater or does not have a mechanism to entertain those 3.5 to 3 years of, 3 to 4 years of training. We are actively working on it, and fingers crossed, hopefully in the coming time, we'll be able to get some sort of equivalency for our CAF qualified. But sadly, right now, we don't have any equivalency for CAF qualified.
Thank you, Salman Saab. This next question I'm going to be directing at both of you, starting with Hassan. So, Muazzam Umrani is asking regarding the CA curriculum, that even in his belief, even in this professional qualification, we need to cram somewhat. Shouldn't it be purely conceptual? So, is it really so that you need to cram even a little bit?
If I've understood the question correctly, it's you don't need to be so specialized in any field, and this qualification is specialization in such subjects that are recognized by IASB and ISA and IAS, as Mr. Salman just said. So we do not have to specialize in every sort of subject, but it's more so a generic perspective to things, and then you can later on build on that. But specifically audit, accounting, tax, and the subjects which are from a governance and control perspective, and accounting and audit perspective, those are the ones which are specialized in CA.
I'm sure he must have, if he has taken the recent attempts. In the recent attempts, we have allowed a number of examinations to be held, open book examinations. We have started open book examinations. So yes, in the past, his contention was to some extent true, that there was some rote learning involved, but with the event of this open book policy, I doubt if the old myth of CA exams based on rote learning still holds valid.
Thank you, Salman Saab. Now, moving on to Hassan. In your journey to become a CA, did you ever think that this was too tough a nut to crack, that this was just impossible?
To be very frank, yes. And why? Because I think that if I would have done any qualification academia, this stage would have come. And this is very natural to every student, in whether a professional academia or educational academia. Because you need to have perseverance, you need to have hard work, you need to have dedication, and nothing comes for free. So if you are to, you expect a chartered accountant to be a separate class in the society, then you have to put in those hours, you have to burn the midnight oil, you have to take such sweat in you. And that is what chartered accountancy gives you. And this is how a coal turns into diamond, right? So there is nothing free in the world. And if you are passionate, if you are hard work, I am very confident you can crack all the nuts in life, not only chartered accountants. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any message that you would like to give our viewers? Anything that you would like to say to them?
So I guess it's an amazing opportunity Icap is providing on this platform using the technology. And as a question was regarding AI, so this is a true example how we augment our messaging from this August Institute to a public world at a larger scale. And it's a great initiative, and this is the first time in life of a person when he takes his decision for a very long term. And it is very important to have an informed decision, whether he chooses the profession or not, but it's very important that it should be based on certain parameters and factors. And I really appreciate, I'm very happy to be a member of such a body which gives such a great information, knowledge, and open house sessions to ask as many questions as you want. And trust me, this Icap house in Clifton or any offices worldwide or in Pakistan are very open to have any discussions any student want to do, and they totally facilitate it. And I really appreciate this thing, and I would strongly suggest all the students down there to take this opportunity very seriously. We in our times, and it's not so laid back, we often had this in our heart that there is no institute that is providing us career guidance, that is providing so openly or discussing so openly pros and cons of the academy or studies. But I guess today Icap has proven this, that this is not just, an end to the thing, but it is a great start to the thing, to bring on this information live on network, ask the questions, give the responses, and for you guys to choose your life in the right direction, in the right way, with an informed decision, so that you can take the world with confidence and passion. So really appreciate this from Icap.
Thank you, Hassan. Salman Saab, what message would you like to give the viewers?
I always tell it to my So, Murphy's Law, if anything can go wrong, it always does. So we had a little power failure at our Icap house. I was referring to the messages that I'd like to give to aspiring CA students or current CA students. See, there are two skill sets which are essential to become a successful professional. The hard skills and the soft skills. As far as the hard skills are concerned, rest assured our examination system, our rigorous examination system, and our practical training will take care of it. So you don't have to worry about the hard skills. We'll make you study. That's for sure. That's a given that you'll carry those hard skills. As far as the soft skills are concerned, they are important. Like that is something that Icap does not evaluate you. Those skill sets, and I urge all my CA students, trainees, those are skill sets that you don't have to learn them actively. You can learn them passively as well. How do you communicate, your interpersonal skills, how do you carry yourself, your stress management, your time management, so many things come into play. How do you respond? So many, your leadership skills. So that is something that one can learn passively on his own. So hard skills, leave it to us. We'll ensure that you have those hard skills. Soft skills, I always urge my students and all the CA trainees and CA students to start reading, develop this habit of reading, social learning from others, attend those seminars, read books, all those things. And trust me, once you have this lethal combination of having strong hard skills and strong soft skills, you are destined to succeed. That's what I tell all my students.
Thank you so much, Salman Saab, and thank you, Hassan, for joining us today. If you have any questions at all, please make sure to comment us and we'll be sure to get back to you. For more details, visit our website www.icap.org.pk and make sure to follow all of our social media handles for any updates. Thank you.